Hey guys, it's Kim here with Fairily Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me on this knitting vlog. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not feeling well today, but I wanted to take you on this journey and show you what I've been working on and a design that I am creating. The lighting is terrible. We'll see if I can fix it during editing. But here's a swatch I've been working on. Just trying out a couple of different things. I'm not 100% happy with this. I will revisit it another time. In the meantime, I created a new chart, and I'm getting ready to translate this with the changes I decided to make onto grid paper. So I can do it on the computer, but I don't own the program, so I can't print anything. So anyway, let's show you what I'm working on. I don't know if I was filming or not. So here I marked my 6 center stitches. I'm charting 40 stitches. The center 6 is where I'm doing my braid. So I take the center and go over to the right, center and go over to the left, center to the right, center to the left, and that creates the braid. And I know that my cables look awful hand-drawn, but bear with me there. And then I'm putting 2 purl stitches on either side of the braid panel, and then I'm going to work a knit stitch and then some more purls. This drawing out the chart on paper took many different attempts and many iterations. Things changed on each one until I had exactly what I wanted, and then I spent some time taking the single chart that I had charted for 40 stitches, or rather I ended up charting it for 32 stitches, and then changing it to fit 36 stitches and 40 stitches. So it wasn't super clear in the chart what I was doing, but I believe I do explain that later on. For how I did it, I don't remember. It's been like a month since I filmed this. But anyway, so this is literally the way my brain works and the way I figure out a chart pattern, and I really enjoyed doing this and am very, very happy with the results. Once the chart was to my liking, it was time to do a full-blown swatch, so I cast on some scrap sock yarn and tried out the pattern. Originally, I am doing, oh my gosh, magic loop. I am doing magic loop. I am making notes as I go on the pattern and making little changes as needed, as I think of them, or as I go, oh yeah, that's not going to work. And I started swatching the smallest size and then worked my way up after doing a couple repeats, pattern repeats, which is only 4 rows or rounds. Then I went up to the medium size, and then I did a few pattern repeats and went up to the large size. And this was to see how I liked the entire thing. I only charted on half of the stitches, so I cast on as if I were knitting a full sock, and on the front half of the stitches I knit the chart, and on the back I either just purled or just knit. I think I knit. I started off trying to do the chart on both sides, gave up on that, and just did knit some purls in the place of the cables, and then I even gave up on that and just knit across because it was taking way too long. So here I am trying to follow the chart, and it's so very confusing until after I get this swatch done, and then after that I have it completely memorized. So this is my swatch for the pattern, and I started with the small size, And here I've marked where approximately where I changed sizes. Pardon the dirty hands. I was just working on the car, trying to find an oil leak. This is the medium size. I increased here and here, here and here. 1 stitch in each place to increase to the medium size. And then on the large, I increased here 2 stitches and here 2 stitches. And it'll be repeated on the back. I did not swatch the pattern on the back. I just knit. Well, I started trying to do the pattern on both sides and decided that was not going to work. And then I just did the knits and purls as if I were cabling, but pretending to, you know. And then I just like, nope, that's going too slow, so I'm just talking at. So, but this gives me an idea of how the pattern is going to work out. And now that the chart is the way I like it, and I'm happy with my swatch, I'm happy with the sizing, I'm happy with everything, it is time to wind this skein of yarn into a cake so that I can use it. And I am using hand-dyed sock yarn. It is 75% superwash, probably merino, and 25% nylon. Years ago, when I was playing around with having my own business, I started with dyeing yarn, and I still have some undyed yarn in my stash that will become something else at some point. But anyway, this is a necessary step in the process. So now that this little swatch is done, I have wound up or caked up my main yarn. I'm going to do contrasting cuffs, heels, and toes, I think, or maybe just heels. We'll see. I know I don't have quite enough yarn of this to do 2 socks, so that's why I want to do a contrast, because I only have 1 skein of this blue. And it's some that I dyed up years ago when I first got into dyeing and I started dyeing yarns. Both of these. In fact, this is also hand dyed by me. So I haven't dyed yarns for a long time, and all the ones I had I took out of my store because I'm not doing them anymore. So I'm trying to use them up. So yeah, time to cast on a pair of socks. While I am knitting away, I realized that the reason I felt so terrible yesterday, the day I started recording, was seasonal allergies. It is near the beginning of March, and everything is starting to bloom. It is unseasonably warm, and the allergies are just going crazy. Everybody's getting colds, everybody's getting stomach viruses, everybody's getting sinus infections, ear infections, and as the month has progressed into the end of the month where I'm now editing this, it has been one miserable event after another. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, I'm still very, very congested, and it will clear up eventually and my body will settle down. All right, so we have the leg of the sock mostly knit. Now I made a mistake, a couple of mistakes. You can really see it on this side where I messed up the cable. I did it by accident once and then on purpose the second time to reestablish the cable pattern, the braid, the way I wanted it. And I'm just leaving it there. So here is some fun time-lapse knitting the cables, and then I will show you some real speed the row between cables. So there's a cable row, a rest row, a cable row, a rest row. By rest, I mean it's just knits and purls. You're not actually moving stitches around. And that makes this pattern fly very, very quickly. I love the simplicity of this pattern and how incredibly easy it is to follow, how easy it is to memorize. And it's just very, very repetitive. Usually, I don't like to knit cables because they slow me down. I like to just knit stockinette and knit as really, really fast. But I love the way cables look. And so for this sock, I wanted cables that weren't too complicated or too boring. This was almost too boring, but it was just interesting enough to keep going. And yeah, the yarn wasn't the best for seeing all the pretty stitches, but being a semi-solid, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't the most ideal yarn. So I may try this pattern with commercially dyed sock yarn at some point, but I already have a plan on what I want next. I think it is incredibly elegant and beautiful, and the simplicity of the cables themselves, just sometimes simplicity is where you get the majority of your elegance and beauty, and that's really what I was going for. I thought I wanted something more complicated in the beginning, and it turned out simple elegance is where I was headed. So that may be what I name this pattern. So I am finished with the foot, and now I'm working the heel flap, which I broke my yarn and attached the dark blue, and I am working the traditional heel flap where you slip one, knit one all the way across, and you stack all of your slip stitches on every right side row, just loosely tying my tails together so that they don't flop around. Those stitches don't flop around and get too loose. I will untie them later. I think I tied them in a bow. Anyways, I will work this. I have 40 stitches, and I will work 42 rows to make the heel flap the perfect length with my row gauge. Okay, so it is time for an update on the sock, and I've realized I need a name for this pattern, but that's fine. So I've gotten through the gusset decreases, and you can see there's a little line where I'm doing the magic loop, or it's the front and the back of the sock. So it's like the fold, and that's because I pull my stitches really tight when I transition from one side of the sock to the other. Anyway, I am working on the foot. So this is the leg. The foot has no patterning, obviously, nice and smooth. I think this pattern is very, very elegant and beautiful. And I want to knit it in pink. I don't know why, but like a semi-solid pink like this blue would be super beautiful. So I may have to find my undyed yarn stash and dye up some pink, or maybe I'll just spin some pink sock yarn, and we'll try knitting this pattern with hand spun. We'll see. But anyway, I am going to just keep working away on this until I'm ready to Kitchener the toe, and then I will be back to show you that part. But then of course I have to knit the second sock, so like that's a little annoying. Just knitting away. I did do the decreases on the gusset different than I normally do. That was a little bit confusing at first, but now that they're done, and then I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it or not. I think I like it. I need to see it on a foot to see how I really feel. But I think I'm happy with it. It's hard to talk and knit at the same time when you're counting stitches. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep knitting away, and I should have this finished in another day because it's going super fast. I am obsessed with this pattern, and that's all I want to work on. Unfortunately, I cannot publish this pattern soon because I need to purchase the program, the app, for creating the chart and the pattern and everything. I can use the demo version for now, but I can't really publish it from the demo version, so I'm not ready to purchase that yet. So I'll be back to show you the Kitchener part, and then we'll knit the second sock. Because who doesn't like to knit the second sock? A lot of people don't. But, you know, gotta finish a pair. And my man is really looking forward to wearing these. I was teasing him the other day. I told him, I held up the sock. I was like, it just started the gusset, I think. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to rip this out. And he goes, oh, I understand. And I said, no, you don't. You don't understand because it's such a pretty pattern and pretty yarn, and it's too big to fit me. So I need to rip it out. At that point, he caught on to the fact that I was teasing. He just kind of rolled his eyes at me. But it is gorgeous. Like, I need a pair of socks in this pattern. So the next pair I knit will be the smallest size. Or maybe I'll do the medium on much smaller needles. We'll see. It's kind of hard to cable on tiny needles. This is US 1.5 right here that I'm using, and that's about as small as I can manage to cable without issue. But I really prefer a tighter, more dense fabric for my socks. I think they just wear better. Okay, so this sock is done. I have completed the toe, and I'm ready to do the Kitchener stitch, which I do a little differently than a lot of people. I got the idea from someone else, cannot remember who. If I remember, I'll link it, but I seriously doubt I will remember. So I have a nice long tail here. And that way I don't have to worry about running out or not having enough to really do what I want to do. So typically when you start, you do a purl on, knit off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to purl. Let me think for a second. No, I'm going to go through the first stitches to knit, and I'm going to go through the first. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to think a minute. You know, I could do this if I wasn't filming. Since I'm trying to explain it, I have to really think, and I'm trying to work around the tripod, which is not helping. Okay, so I'm just going to purl these two off, but I've got a piece of a stitch below there. And then I'm going to purl on the next one. On the knit side, and on the purl side, I'm going to knit off. This was very awkward. Normally I would do this up by my eyeballs. Take those off. And then we're going to Okay, so now we're set up and ready to go. So now we knit off and purl on the knit side, and we purl off and knit on the purl side, and tug these nice and tight. And we do that until we have like 2 or 3 stitches remaining. Go where I want you. There we go. It's normally not this difficult to do. A, I don't feel good. Got a head cold or something. And B, I'm working around a tripod, which makes it, and a camera, which makes it very, very awkward. Maybe I can use the camera. I'm literally looking underneath the camera. Trying to show you what I'm doing here. Okay, I've got 3 stitches left. What I'm going to do is knit off. I think I knitted off. And then I'm going to purl off the back. And then I'm going to knit off these last 2 stitches that I haven't done the first portion to. The last, whoops, and then purl off the other 2 which came off the needle. Okay. And then if you pull the hair there, if you pull the yarn around a bit in different ways to see which direction that stitch really wants to lay, then you can secure it there, and it keeps you from having little wings at the corners when you do it this way, and it's still nice and secure. Alright guys, I have finished the second sock. So I now have 2 socks, and I've woven in all of the ends, but I had a weird spot right here. You can see these stitches look a little loose, so I'm going to have to fix those, and I don't have a tail right there, so I'm going to use a tail that I cut off, but I'm going to turn the camera to where you can see that, and then the sock design that I made will be complete. That side looks really good. This is the second sock. I'm going to show you the difference between, still got to trim all the ends off here, but on this sock you can see the purl bumps. I did not knit the first row with the blue color. I purled it here. And on this one, I knit it, and I kind of like the clean look of this one better. So on this side, I do need to tighten up these stitches right here. That's loose. So I need to go ahead and tighten that up. I've got a few ends to cut off the second sock. well, the first sock actually, because I have not done that yet. Wove them in, I just hadn't cut them off. And I do need a fairly long tail to use to weave in. Let's see. I've got plenty of this yarn, but I thought it'd be easier if I just use a scrap that I cut off. So I'm actually going to turn this wrong side out and come back in and see if I can tighten this up a little bit. If I can find it. There it is. So I'm going to start by working in my tail well above where I need to be, just to get that woven in good. And all I'm doing is duplicate stitching across a few stitches. Okay, that's good and woven in. So now I'm going to work my way down to the hole. So I do have a hole here. And then I'm going to start duplicate stitching to try and close the hole up. And this, for some reason, just got really stretched out when I was working on it originally. I'm not sure what happened. I need to go back this way because I need to duplicate stitch this really loose stitch here. And I should be able to just continue. I don't even know if I'm in frame. And I'm going to work up a little bit. And then I'm going to do some more duplicate stitch to weave in my end. And I'm almost out of yarn. That should do it. Now let's see what that looks like on the other side. Now that should not have been a thing. Nice and neat. And nice and neat. You can tell that I duplicate stitched it, but it's not super obvious and it's no longer really loose. If I put my hand in here, that hole should be closed up. So that's where the stitches were too loose, and now they're nice and tight. So I hope you enjoyed this very different video where I took you through the design process of making the whole process of creating a sock design from an idea to a finished product. I do not have a name for these yet, and I don't want the color to be the name because I want to knit these in different colors. But I love this center braid. Here's the second sock. Turn it sideways. I love the detail where the gusset decreases are in pearls. Which puts the gusset decreases in a different spot than usual. So normally when I decrease this way. There's a decrease line right here, normally. But on these I did it opposite. So the entire bottom of the sock is knit in stockinette, and then the rest of it is in pattern. And the gusset decreases kind of make it look like the pattern just seamlessly continues. So now I have to write the pattern down, everything that I did. I've already written a lot, and make some, if you want this, you do that sort of instructions, and figure out how to get the chart made for the cables, which is only a 4-row repeat, so super easy. This is a really easy pattern and very, very elegant. Maybe I should say it's elegant braids, braided elegance, braided elegance. Maybe that's what I'll call these. I am just in love with the cables. And no, I have not blocked this, and I don't have sock blockers, so pardon the hand in here, but there's a close-up of the cables. And yes, they're on the back of the sock as well for the leg. Trying to mimic a heel here. These are really big socks. They're for my man. So I knit these on 80 stitches. Yep, the next step is to write the pattern and get it out to testers. So that'll be a few months. I kind of want to knit a few more in different sizes. I want to knit a pair for me. I might have to dye some yarn because I want these in the exact type of color but pinks instead of blues. I think that would be super cute. And I will not be doing contrasting toes, heels, and cuffs for that because my feet are much smaller and I can get an entire pair of socks out of 100 grams of yarn instead of 120 or 130 grams that big feet require. So here's all the little ends that will go into either the scrap bin or to be recycled into something else later, or they will go in the garbage. Probably where they'll end up. We'll see. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in when I go to put them away. So now I get to hand these over to my man and let him wear them because they are done. He now has 2 pair of beautifully cabled hand knit socks from my own hand dyed yarn, and I am very, very happy. And I have about a million other designs floating around in my head waiting to be turned into socks, but I have other things that I want to make now, so these are going to go in the drawer, and sock knitting is going to go in the it's going to go on hold for a month or two, hopefully, while I work on some summer knits. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!